Hey everyone, welcome to Build Series in New York City. I'm your host, Lauren Moraski. Our next guest joined the boy band Dream Street at age 12 before branching out on his own. He went on to sell more than 2.5 million albums, 8 million singles throughout his career. You may also know him from acting gigs on All My Children and Summerland. Now he's out with his first new song since 2014. Please welcome Jesse McCartney.
Hey guys, how are you? Nice to see you, Lauren.
Nice to see you.
How's everything?
Everything's great. How's everything by you?
Everything's good. I was just saying I've never seen it, the video anywhere else but my laptop.
Yeah.
So it's fun to see it like on a big screen.
It's real, right? Were you nervous before putting this out to fans? Because it's been a minute.
It's been a minute. I was anxious. I mean, it's been almost 4 years since I've released any new music, and I didn't really know what to expect and what the fans' reaction was going to be. But so far, it's been overwhelmingly positive. So I'm very happy and grateful.
Well, fans are excited to have you back. So the song "Better With You" is the first single off what is hopefully going to be a new album.
Yeah.
How did the song come about for you?
Well, I was in the studio in the last couple years, and one of my buddies, Brandon Burnett, he and his girlfriend actually helped me write the song, and it was kind of a crazy time last year, and I just felt like there was a lot of division among everybody, and it was very intense, both politically and socially, and I just felt like there needed to be a song to make people feel better and just kind of bring people together. And I think everyone can kind of relate to knowing or finding somebody that just sort of makes them a better version of themselves. Mm-hmm. And Better With You came out one day in the studio, and we were like, yeah, this is nice. This feels good. So, and then, when it came time to release, we were like, I think this should be sort of our first foot forward, And yeah, like I said, it's been incredible. The fans have been. I've been doing a lot of live shows, and they're already singing the song. It's really cool.
That must be a good feeling.
Yeah.
Especially because it's such a new song.
It's funny when I've never seen in like 15 years that I've been doing music. I've never seen a live show. I've never been performing at a live show where the fans have so quickly learned the lyrics. Even if they've never heard it, by the second chorus, they're like already singing along.
Yeah.
It's a special feeling.
How autobiographical is this track?
Very. I mean, I have a special somebody, and I think everybody has a special someone in their life that they know that it just brings the best out of them. Whether that's your significant other or your mom or your pet.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it's certainly accessible and relatable for anybody.
How about the video? The video is very cool to accompany the track.
Thanks.
Did you have any insight into what that would be? Did you have any input?
Yeah, so I sat down with my director, Joe Roy, who just did such an incredible job. And she and I sat down and we just sort of banged our heads together. There was several different working ideas, and we just felt like, no, that doesn't work. And it was just kind of a collaborative effort. And we decided we wanted to do something that was like a butterfly effect, where something as incidental as a quarter rolling past your shoe could change the entire outcome of your future and your future relationships. And, and that's what we set out to do. So we got Danielle Campbell, who was lovely in this video. She's an incredible actress. I knew I needed an actor because we were attempting to shoot over a 2-day period and make it seem like we had been in a 5-year relationship, which can be like super uncomfortable if you've never met somebody before and you're like working with them in such a close environment, such close quarters. And we got her involved, and yeah, we shot over a 2-day period. We had like 30 costume changes because, again, we were trying to make it look like an authentic relationship. And it's hard because with a song like this, it could so easily be like a slice of cheese, it could be super cheese ball. But we wanted to incorporate things that made a relationship look authentic. That's why we had this like fight scene in the middle, and it was the highs and lows of a relationship that we wanted to sort of highlight. And I think that this video executed that.
I agree. I think watching it, you're like, yep, I've been there, done that too, right?
Yep.
So it's really relatable. And I like that the song, even though you said it's about your special someone, it could relate to so many different people's special someones.
Totally. If you have feelings.
Yeah, right. Do you guys have feelings? All right, yeah, we got feelings. We can relate to it. So is this an indication of what we're going to hear from you in the future in terms of a full-length album?
Totally. I think that what's cool about this record is that it's there's something that is familiar about it. I think that this record is most reminiscent of some of my earlier stuff in like the Beautiful Soul days, with a 2018 contemporary feel. But lyrically and sort of genre-wise, it felt like it was leaning a little more pop than some of my previous stuff. And yeah, I think this is probably a pretty good representation of the rest of the music that I have to put out this year.
So what has the last 4 years been like for you? What have you been up to?
Yeah.
Because we've missed you. I mean, I know you're on
Thanks.
social media, but
I've been traveling quite a bit.
Okay.
I've been exploring different creative avenues, and not necessarily in music, although also in music, and we can get to that in a sec. But I did a lot of just like learning how to cook, learning how to barbecue, learning how to like become a grill master.
Wow.
I've been doing music for so long that I never really had a chance to go see the world without having to work in like a big city, and I never got to like see people or meet people or experience different cultures in a way that people get to when they're traveling. So I decided I was gonna go travel. I was gonna experience new things, meet new people, eat a lot of good food.
Nice.
And yeah, and I actually, I think the sort of the catalyst that brought me back, that kind of made me decide, okay, I'm gonna get back into music, was a songwriting camp that I took part of in Nashville, and it was specifically for country music, which I had never done. And so one of my songwriter friends, Shane Stevens, who I wrote Superbad with on my last album, he called me up and he said, hey, I'm doing this sort of pop country writing camp. Do you want to be a part of it? And at the time, I was super resigned. I think I was like, I think I'll just hang home. And he's like, no, you should come check it out. So I flew to Nashville, and I ended up writing for 2 weeks just country music. Wow. And it was just a thrilling experience. I got to work with incredibly talented songwriters, and it was sort of outside of my comfort zone, And I think that kind of, when I finished, I got back home, and I think that was sort of the bug that bit me again, and I was like, all right, maybe I should get back in and do my own stuff.
So do you think you'll tackle country down the line? Country music?
I don't think so. I mean, I don't know. Maybe never say never. By the way, I love country music as a genre. I think it's one of the most honest forms of songwriting that you don't hear as often in pop music. It makes for incredible storytelling, and I have a lot of respect for it. That being said, I tried singing with a twang, and people were like, maybe you should do that.
Just a McCartney go country? No way. Not happening anytime soon. But I bet you it made you a better songwriter.
Totally.
Just by doing
that. It totally sharpens your tools and makes you, just sharper. I mean, anything you do for a long enough period of time, if you're practicing all the time, you just become good at it.
Yeah. Well, over the course of the last 4 years, you've also done some acting. I know you were on like The Fear of the Walking Dead, right? So what are those? How does that fit into your world? Like, when do you know, okay, I'm going to go out for this role, or I want to do this? Yeah.
So I mean, it's just sort of another aspect of my career that I've been fortunate enough to take advantage of, and I have an amazing team of people around me, who send me out for auditions like every other sort of working actor in Los Angeles, and I mean, comedy was something that I hadn't done a lot of, and Young and Hungry, I was on a show called Young and Hungry on Freeform for a couple seasons, and it was Team Cooper. I had, it was like a multicam comedy, which I hadn't done in a very long time, and it was. I got to work with a lot of my friends. Two of the cast members were like old friends of mine. Yeah, I mean, I love acting. It's, I started as a theatrical guy, theater guy, and you had to act and sing and kind of do the whole thing. So I try to maintain, different creative avenues.
How did that acting on that show compare to something like Summerland, for example, where a lot of us got to know you?
Well, simply the format of it was, Summerland was like a drama, 1 hour, like teen angsty drama where, people are surfing and making out. And then Young and Hungry, I think, had a little bit more sort of wit to it. It was, a sharper comedy for maybe a slightly older crowd. And, I mean, they were two totally different shows that involved a lot of love triangles.
Well, a lot of us got to also know you. You were so young when you were in All My Children.
Yeah.
I mean, my gosh. I mean, how many years were you on that show?
I don't know. I don't forget specifically. I think I think 3 years maybe.
Yeah.
Like 98 to like 2001. It was like the first television experience of my life. I was very young. I think I was 11 or 12 years old when I first started on that show. I was probably your age. How old are you? 10?
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just maybe a year older than you. And it was sort of my first time, working with adults too, which is like really intimidating because they're like, everyone when you're 10 and 11 is like, they look like they're 70 years old, at least for me. And when you're working for the first time, you want to be great. And I just remember having so many fond memories of working with people like Michael Knight and Katie McLean and Kelly Ripa, who played my sister on the show at the time. This is right before she started doing the Regis and Kelly show. And they were just... they made such a big impact on me as a young child actor, and just sort of influenced me in a lot of positive ways. And a lot of fun memories over there at All My Children.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So do you think you want to do more acting down the line? And if so, what
Totally.
would you want to tackle?
I mean, to me, it's all about good writing.
Yeah.
I think in this day and age, it's becoming harder and harder to come by.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, I'm open to pretty much anything. It's just about the work. It's about the material,
Speaking of material, you mentioned earlier that a lot of like what's been going on in the current events sort of influence Better With You. Do you think that will influence the rest of the album?
There are, I think, just in general, the content on this record and the music that's coming out has a little bit more to bite into, and at times can get topical.
Got it.
And I think that, it was just sort of what I was feeling. Like I said, when I was writing, it felt like just a very contentious time among the country, among the world. And I don't know, it inspired just sort of these uplifting collection of songs. So I'm very excited for everybody to hear it. I'm pumped.
Do you have a timeline for it?
So the idea, I think, is to really, after Better With You, in the next few months, I'll probably put one at a time, kind of see how everybody's feeling. Yeah. But I have not finished a full-length album yet. I'll make that very clear. But I won't say that isn't going to happen. I just, I kind of want to put all my eggs into one song at a time and just kind of take it a day at a time and enjoy every minute of it. And then tour. I want to travel again and tour and play for all the fans. I have a lot of shows coming up in the spring. And then I'm going to probably plan a full tour this summer.
Awesome. What was one of the favorite places that you visited while you were traveling the last few years?
So I just recently went to Sweden in September, and I had never spent any extensive time in Northern Europe, and it was incredible. I just had the best time, and I went on a culinary journey as well, and explored Nordic cuisine, which was something we don't get a lot of down here in the States. And I just got to take in a beautiful place, a beautiful country. And I ate at a restaurant actually called Faviken, which is arguably one of the best places in the in the world. And this chef Magnus Nilsson. Sorry if I'm geeking out on food right now. You guys can stop me. But I've been a huge fan of food and culinary documentaries and books. And anyway, it was something I saw in a documentary. I was like, I got to go to Sweden. We got to go. And so we went for 2 weeks, and it was one of the coolest because I didn't have to work.
Yeah,
I could just
that's always a bonus.
Sit around and drink wine and travel. It was a blast.
Well, when you're on tour, you're working really, but it's also probably fun because you have such a solid, dedicated fan base, right?
Totally. This group of fans has amazed me time and time again. I didn't know what it was going to be like to sort of re-engage after 4 years, and sort of. I didn't know what their reaction was going to be, and they made it pretty clear immediately that they were there and that they were ready for new music. And they've just always been super supportive. I go out on the road and I'm playing live, and it's just it's really just I have the best job. I really do. It's the best gig ever.
Your fans have always been really dedicated. There was a story that you told where you got literally trampled at a mall in Chicago, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what was that? You were how old at that time?
I think I was 16. It was like right when Beautiful Soul came out, my debut record.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's a funny story. So we were in Chicago, and I was showing up to a mall for like a meet and greet or like a signing or something. And originally they were like, "Oh, we're expecting like 300 to 500 people." And we got there, and they're like, "We might have to shut the mall down. There's 8,000 people that are here, and we don't really know how to get you in." And I was like, "Oh, we can do this. Like, I'm not gonna let these, them down. We're not gonna leave. We're gonna do this." It's a terrible idea. So we pull up, and like I have a security detail around me whose average, I think their mean age was probably like 70 years old, which is cool, but like I don't think they were up for the job.
Right.
And so like I'm in the center, and there was like 15 security guards like around me, and their idea was, we'll just walk through the crowd, which was a terrible idea. And so they put me in the center, and they just had me surrounded, and almost immediately, like they just start going down one by one, all the security guards. And I'm like trying to help the security guards, like I'm helping them up. And like in that moment, like I remember somebody coming down, like reaching on top of my head and like yanking a fistful of hair.
Oh.
And I saw her hand, and I was like, "Is that my hair in your hand?" So I'm like crying and like thanking the people and like trying to walk to stage, bleeding, and like, "Oh, what's up, Chicago?" And it was like my first real experience with like sort of mania, and but I wouldn't trade it for the world. I mean, it was a good time.
My gosh, what a story. I mean, how have you stayed so grounded all these years? Because that was like so many years ago.
I just have a really, just a great support system among my family and among my friends and the people I work with, and they've always been willing to give me a swift kick if if I do something stupid. I mean, I think, for anyone coming up in this industry, for young people especially, I think that, you have to constantly tell yourself to surround yourself with good people, because you are who your friends are, and that's just kind of how it is. And you're gonna, that's, if as long as you have people that can tell you no in your life, I think you'll make it.
Yeah. Well, you did to this point. That's great.
Thanks.
Beautiful Soul, we were playing that backstage and people were still singing it and enjoying it. What do you think it was about that song that really resonated and made you, really resonate with fans?
I just think that the message was nice, I think people like to feel good, and it has just sort of an earnest, honest quality, that, no matter how you sort of view beauty, like I think everyone can agree that at the end of the day, like people who have a personality that make you feel something with their soul is the most important thing. And I think that's what connected. I think that's what Beautiful Soul was. What the DNA of that song was about. How you are as a person.
We talked a little bit about success and mania, but to what do you owe your success? Do you think some of it's luck? Do you think it's talent, hard work?
Mostly luck, maybe a little bit of like talent, but mostly luck and timing and people that that are able to help. I'm sort of and everybody in the industry that does pop or any music, they're just the face of the operation. Whoever you look up to, whoever your guy is or your girl is, they're just the face. Like there's a whole team of people that make this happen. It's not just myself. It's a collaborative group effort that no one person can do.
It seems like with this album, you're really going to be hands-on with this stuff. Are you kind of going on, like from start to finish, you're
totally
involved, right?
Yeah, it's very intensive because as an independent artist now, it is one of those things where you're involved from every standpoint. You have, all the creative, and then you have to also think about sort of the business aspect of it, the marketing, the advertising, the money, like all that stuff, which is not as fun.
Yeah.
But it's something you have to think about, and it's incredibly challenging for sure.
Quite different from when you got your start then, when you're kind of on a label, et cetera.
Totally. And I mean, that being said, it's also incredibly liberating to be able to do it all on your own, because you don't have necessarily a group of people standing over your shoulder telling you what to do or how to do it or what songs are good. You know, at this point, you know, it's a lot more work, but you have the creative freedom to do what you want.
What can we expect on the tour that's coming up?
Oh, so right now in the spring, I have a ton of I'm doing a lot of colleges at the moment. Yeah. But on the full tour, you'll expect to see all of the songs you love, plus some new ones that I hope you end up loving as well. And I'm gonna bring my band out.
Nice.
It's always a fun show, and it'll probably be like kind of House of Blues kind of vibe.
Cool.
I think. So
right.
We're still talking about it. We're still figuring it out, but I'll keep you updated.
All right. Well, we look forward to that. It'll be a great chance for you to like road test some of these new tracks too.
Yeah, totally. Lauren, every time like I do a new song, it's like just the most, I can't tell you how exciting it is as an artist. Like when you're on stage and you get to sing a new song for the first time and watch the audience's reaction, it's just the most fulfilling feeling. And old songs too. I mean, there is something fun about playing Beautiful Soul, and it's nostalgic for everybody. When that happens, like that moment is incredible to watch. But the new stuff, like playing new stuff as an artist, it's like what you dream about, you know? So
amazing. Well, we have some questions from the crowd before we let you go. So let's get to it. Ooh, our first one, our friend over here. Hello.
Hi,
I like your hair, by the way. That's super cool.
Thank you. So my question is, were you nervous when you was on Young and Hungry?
Was I nervous? Sometimes. You know, there was a lot of, you know, comedy is a very difficult thing to do, I found. And I was surrounded by a lot of talented actors. But, you know, when you're on set, you sort of, it's always a learning experience. And I think performing, especially on that show, in front of a live audience is it makes you even more nervous because, like, if you mess up, like, the entire audience sees you, you know? Which I did several times, by the way, mess up. But, you know, I think with comedy, everybody laughs at the end of the day. So even if you mess up or you make a mistake, everybody laughs about it.
All right. Thanks for that question.
Yep.
All right. Who's next?
Hi, Jesse.
Hey.
I got to see you on a Technicolor tour.
Cool.
Yeah, and
What'd you think?
It was really good. And you took a little break after that. So you already touched on the tour question, but I have my two little girls here. They grew up on your music because of me.
Cool.
And I wanted to know, are you going to be doing album signings and like things like that? Because they're old enough to share it with me now.
Would you like me to do an album signing?
Yes.
I don't have any specific plans right now for an album signing because there isn't like a full album yet. But you know, just let me know where and when, and we'll set it up.
Amazing. Look at that. All right, next.
Hey, Jesse.
Hey.
What was your favorite memory from Hannah Montana?
Hannah Montana. I was talking about this yesterday. I think working with Miley was a blast, and she is one of the coolest people I've ever worked with. A real sweetheart, and just a ton of fun and hilarious. I think my favorite part though was the awkward rapping thing that I did at the end. Do you remember that with Mitchell? It was I don't think I've never looked. It was really awkward. It was like I remember doing this and dressing up in the outfit, thinking like I can't believe I'm doing this. But you know, you got to do stuff that you don't want to do sometimes for art, for the love of art.
All right, who's next?
Hi.
Hey.
I was just wondering, since you've been traveling and just doing it for fun, are there places that you really want to go to that you haven't been to yet?
Sure. I still have not been to South America, and I know that there are a lot of fans down there. I get hit up on Instagram and on Facebook and on Twitter all the time, like, come to Brazil, and I've never been down there, and I know it's an amazing place. So at some point, I'd like to get down to South America.
All right. Thanks for that question. And thank you so much for coming by to Build today.
Thank
this is so
what
great.
a cool space.
Yeah, cool space.
Fun.
This used to be a Tower Records, by the way. So, so it's all the music, it all comes back together.
Full circle. I like it.
All full circle. All right. That single is out now. It's called Better With You. And give it up one more time. Jesse McCartney.
Thank you. Thanks, Lauren.
Thanks.